Just a few months ago, I was in the bus back home after being in France, and before that, I was actually in Germany. I was coming back from a school trip going to Germany, and I had the biggest smile on my face until I remember something that I've been focusing for the last 6 months of my life. And I know when I get back home, I'm gonna have to lock in because I've just been really socializing, having fun in this trip. But if I really wanted to reach my goals, I knew I had to lock in. But as I was in the bus looking out the window, an idea pops into my mind, and then another idea, and then another idea. And I've been studying this from the book Psycho-Cybernetics, and I realized it was my success mechanism. And that day I realized that my success mechanism was actually a real thing. I've kind of already read it in books, but also how powerful it was, because I got 3 video ideas, and those 3 video ideas got me like over thousands of views, just because my success mechanism, just because I had goals. And if you're a business owner making over $200 per month, where you're a video editor, you just make videos like me, you coach, like you make TikToks, whatever, I will help you become more productive and do the work that will usually take you 1 week, done in 1 day. And I've helped guys do this, so if you want that score right now, click on the first link in the description. You can just check with the page out, you can book a call with me, and I want to make this short, I don't want to take it a long time. And in the book Psycho-Cybernetics, it talked about how we all have a subconscious success mechanism in us, and whatever we put in it, our minds and our bodies are actually going to try to recreate it. So I want to tell you the story. I remember this Germany trip. I saw this girl alone, and I decided to walk up to speak to her, and I spoke to her, asked her a question, and then just went on from there. But I realized that it was actually my success mechanism actually making me speak to this girl. Because since I've been reading Psycho-Cybernetics, I've actually been putting the things into practice instead of just reading and then doing nothing after it. I've actually taken it into action. And as I was in that trip, I was kind of like visualizing me being social, speaking to girls, speaking to guys, having fun, laughing. And when we were in one of the stops, I just saw her sitting alone, like in the corner of my eye. I wasn't like consciously thinking like, oh, I'm gonna speak to this girl. I was just kind of like doing my own stuff, hanging out with my friends. But like at the corner of my eye, my subconscious just saw her. And because I had this goal in my mind, I tried to recreate it. And you might be a little bit skeptical whether this actually true. It's like, oh, this sounds like woo-woo manifestation magic. But why do you think you've got like good ideas, or just, yeah, to be honest, just good ideas, or just any ideas related to a main goal you have while you're in the shower, while you're walking? It's like your success mechanism is just working inside of there. I came up with this analogy, which is almost, imagine you're a massive like bush or a corn maze. Like, this is, imagine it. And you're in this maze, and there's like a lighthouse, just like, you know, those kind of like ship lighthouse are at the sea, that thing. Imagine there's that like near the exit. That's kind of like what your success mechanism is. It isn't like, oh, if you visualize your goal, you're instantly gonna get it. But you actually have like the right direction towards actually reaching your goal, which is the lighthouse. It helps your subconscious actually be able to reach it. Think about the fact that most people just kind of roam the world without any goals, without any kind of goals, really. I don't know what else to call it. Like any goals, any direction. They're kind of just roaming around, watching self-improvement videos, watching looks maxing videos, watching, I don't know, motivational videos without really taking any action on them. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I used to be like this. I used to like literally spend a whole year trying to become better, and at the end of the year, I'll probably be like 20% better, which is nothing in a whole year. Think about that. You could literally, in a whole year, you could make $1 million. You could make, I don't know, a billion or something. I don't know. But I was 20% better because I just watched some self-improvement videos, but I never took anything into action, never had any goals. I just kind of roamed around. I don't know why, but for some reason, I just didn't like goals. I didn't set any, and I paid the price. I made 20% better improvement where I could have become like 100, maybe even 2. No, that's not even honest. I could have become like 1,000 times better just by having goals. That sounds crazy, but think about the fact that your goals activate your success mechanism. And obviously, let's say, for example, this Germany trip, I was speaking to this girl, and my success mechanism, I saw her in the corner of my eye, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna speak to her. I wasn't like consciously thinking, I just saw it, and my subconscious was like, oh, you can speak to her. So think about the life experience I got there. My confidence got boosted, my social skills got boosted, and I improved that day by like, I don't know, let's say like a solid 2%. Imagine if I did that every single day for a whole year. I can't do the maths. It's around like almost 1,000 times better. It's almost like everybody else in this entire world is just kind of shooting into the dark, trying to hit this bullseye, which is like metaphorically your goal. But they just kind of shoot, but they're never gonna reach it. They're just shooting in the dark because they don't know what they're doing. They just kind of want to improve. But anyway, that's not the point. But the point is to tell you that to really activate your success mechanism, you don't just have to have a goal in your mind, because you can tell you probably had like goals in your mind. You probably say like, oh, I want to make 10K a month. I want to do this. I want to do that. But the way you really activate your success mechanism and start like basically getting ideas left and right, basically becoming part of your identity, is when you start like obsessing over these goals. And I can tell you that from experience. I've literally been deadly, like obsessing over my goals every single day. I haven't really done this for a while, but before I went on a trip to Ecuador, which is actually where I come from, I was looking at my goals every single day, visualizing them. And guess what? It activated my success mechanism. I was actually really productive because it almost was like part of my identity. My mind saw these goals and I was like, oh, to reach them, then I have to be productive. And I know I keep saying visualizing, and you probably have heard that before from other people, but they kind of like don't really explain it. People just kind of tell you, oh, you can visualize, yeah, it helps you. But let me ask you this question. What happens when you visualize a sexual image in your mind? I know that's kind of like a weird question to ask on a YouTube video because whatever, but what happens? Just like answer it. Just like really think about it. What happens when you say, what happens when you think about a sexual image? Your dick gets hard, or at least you get stimulated, or at least like your body starts like, or you must get that energy inside of you. That's because your body reacts to what you see in your mind. Think about that, because reality, and this is something I heard from Charlie Morgan, your whole reality is based on your five senses. And the most interesting part is that you can literally manipulate those five senses. Think about it. You have sight, you have taste, smell, hearing, and touch. You can literally make that in your mind. And your mind can't tell the difference between that imagination and reality. I actually remember this one day before school. I was like almost visualizing myself speaking to these two girls that I kind of like already knew, but I was a little bit less confident back then, but I knew I could speak to them because I've spoken to them before, just kind of like there and there. So this one morning, I was like visualizing it in my room. I was like visualizing vividly. That was the main word. I was visualizing like the exact face expressions, like basically making it so vivid that my body couldn't tell the difference between that imagination and reality. And guess what happened when I went to school that day? The exact same thing that I saw in my mind happened in real life. I spoke to those two girls in kind of like a teasing manner, and well, I had fun. Just because I visualized that one morning. And I know this sounds like magic, but when you really think about it logically instead of kind of like just reading a book, when you really think about it logically, when you visualize something, you're almost practicing in your mind. So you kind of go from, your mind kind of goes from, oh, I don't know what to do because I've never done this before. And then after you visualize, it's almost like, oh, your mind is kind of recreating what you saw in your mind. It's kind of like the only evidence it has, so it kind of just tries to recreate it. That's kind of like the double-edged sword of this, because when you visualize yourself being unsuccessful, and this happened to me a lot without me realizing, was, for example, for me in judo, I visualized myself kind of losing a lot to this other guy who's kind of like slightly better than me. But every single time I kept visualizing he's better than me, better than me, better than me, every single time before class. And guess what? He was always better than me. Until this one time I visualized myself actually like moving in a particular manner, like really pulling, like really knocking them off balance. And that was the day I started throwing him. And coming back to the idea of goals, I remember when I literally made no progress, and you can probably relate to this, and this happened to you quite a bit. It's like you kind of just watch motivational, productive videos, just hoping you get an answer towards your problems. For example, for me, I would always watch like Alex Ramosi, Charlie Morgan, like kind of trying to get an answer for my problems. And well, that's good, like watching productive people is better than, I don't know, playing video games and doing whatever. But I didn't really have any goals. I was just kind of like hoping I got what I needed from a video. But I almost never did. But when I finally decided to set goals, I actually kind of knew what videos to watch and knew what kind of like direction to go, instead of kind of just going randomly trying to hit this bullseye in this dark room. Now it's actually like with the lights. Now I just have to hit the bullseye. And the way I would set goals is what I call December goals. And the way this works is at the beginning of the year, you set goals for December. 3 main goals that you want to achieve. For example, they're most likely going to be related to health, wealth, and relationship, because that's just what most people are interested in. And you're probably interested in the exact same thing, health, wealth, and relationship. But you don't just want to like set any goals, like, I don't know, make 10k per month. You want to make these reasonably unreasonable is the exact word. It's like, kind of like, think about this like Earth. Earth is like in the, what they call the Goldilocks zone of the solar system. It's not too hot where it's just like melting the earth, but it's not too cold where water just freezes. It's kind of like in the middle where water can just be a liquid. And you always want to do the same with your goals. You don't want to make them so unreasonable that you just like put, I'm going to make 1 million by the end of this year, when you haven't started a business like ever. Obviously that's so unreasonable that you're probably like halfway, you see that you're not making any progress and you're going to feel demotivated. But the same if you put like, let's say you want to make $100 by the end of this year, but a whole year, and you've been doing business, there's no way you don't make like a few 100,000 per month in that whole year, even if you've been doing business. So you don't want to have a small goal where you just get demotivated because it's too small and you're like, oh, I'm going to reach it anyway. But you don't want to have such a big goal that you just get demotivated because it's too big. You want to have it in the middle. For example, for me, by the end of this year, I could easily be making probably around 5k per month, 10k per month, just if I really like lock in and actually focus on my DMs and making videos and doing this kind of stuff. Now you're probably going to have some reasonably unreasonable goals. You can have like, I don't know, money, same thing, health, wealth, and relationship. For me, it's literally 5 to 10k per month, bulk up to 56 kg, and have at least 10 girls who are attracted to me. And I know that last one is like so specific, but there's a reason for that. Is that you want to make these goals tangible, like something you can actually like physically see, something you can actually like achieve, not just kind of like, oh, build an aesthetic body. Like, what does that actually mean for you? Because just saying that doesn't really like activate your success mechanism. Like, it kind of does, but it's just not the same as when you have like really tangible goals where it's like, oh, I'm gonna get here exactly. Just take 2 minutes, and you just kind of watch this. Like, you should actually take 2 minutes and really think about what are some goals you can set by the end of the year. I know I'm making this video on the, I think it's like August. I know it's kind of like near the end of the year, but even if you haven't, like, even if you have some goals, kind of like refine them and make them for December, the end of the year. And obviously, if you're watching this video when it's I don't know, like September, October, November, like December, like near the end of the year, you can still do this. But obviously, if it's like December, don't be stupid. Like, just set it for the next December. But anyway, the main point is like really take 2 minutes, even if you already have goals, like really define them so you can like make this December goals, because they're way more effective than just having like general goals, because you almost have a deadline. And the reason deadlines are so powerful is because you almost have like a time to work towards it, the goal. For example, for me, at the beginning of the year, you might feel like, oh yeah, I got all this time to work towards my goal. But then when it starts to hit like August, September, October, you're like, oh wait, I need to lock in. And that's kind of the feeling I'm getting. It's like, it's almost the end of the year and I've made a pretty amount of progress, but in these last few months, I'm gonna be like, oh shit, I need to like actually lock in and actually work to hit my goals. That's the feeling you get when you set the December goals, instead of when you just set goals and you just kind of like have them. That's better than not having goals, but December goals are just better than general goals. But the whole point of this is to really activate your success mechanism, because like I told you, you can't just have goals and expect your success mechanism to just work. You have to like really obsess over these goals. Literally, all I do is in my morning routine, and I want to make this point really quickly. Like Atomic Habits talk, the easiest way to build a new habit is to just have a time for it. For example, every single day after I finish working, so right now after I finish recording this video, I'm literally just gonna do my morning routine, like visualize, and this is exactly what I do. I literally open up my phone, I have on notes, just simple notes. You don't need no fancy Notion or nothing, just like simple notes, and you write down your 3 main goals. For example, for me, it's 5 to 10k per month, 56 kg, and 10 girls who are attracted to me. And every single morning I visualize it, literally just visualize it in my mind vividly with all my 5 senses, because your mind, like I said, your mind can tell the difference between that imagination and reality, because your whole reality is built up of your 5 senses. And those 5 senses can literally be recreated in your mind. And even just literally waking up and looking at these goals, it's already making you like obsess over them. Because if you really just every single day you wake up and you look at them, every single day you wake up and you look at them, your mind is gonna start like seeing like, oh, this part of me, this is like the person I am. I'm gonna make these goals. I'm gonna achieve these goals. And after I visualize it, I don't know if you've ever got this feeling, but you probably will the first time you visualize, or even if you have visualized it before. You almost get this energy in your body where you kind of like feel a little bit motivated, a little like drive. So it's like there's just an energy inside of you, and it's almost like your mind is thinking that, oh, you already achieved these goals. You just need to like, you're just that kind of person. And the reason this is so powerful is because when you visualize yourself achieving your goals, your mind is like, oh, I am the person who can achieve these goals. It goes from maybe making 10k per month, it goes to I'm going to make 10k per month. See the difference? Because think about, you have this one guy who is trying to make 10k per month, this other guy who's gonna make 10k per month. Well, who do you think is actually gonna make 10k per month? Or at least who's gonna make it faster? Obviously this guy. And when you visualize, it's almost like you're mentally mentally and physically ingraining your goals into your body, so your success mechanism actually starts working. And you will probably, or maybe you even have felt this experience where you visualize, but sometimes you get that energy, you almost get that motivation. Like, for example, for me, I would literally be working, then I'll be doing my morning routine, and then I'll start visualizing before school, or if it's not a school day, before I work out. I almost get this motivation. I'll be like, oh, today I'm gonna be social, or oh, today's gonna be a great workout. But sometimes I just don't get that feeling. I kind of just visualize, and I'm like, well, that was useless. I didn't feel any different. And I realized every single time that happened was because I didn't believe it, or I didn't use my 5 senses. Every single time. There was never a time where I visualized it vividly and I added emotion and I actually like kind of believed it in my mind. That's the days that I actually got this energy, this motivation. The days that I didn't was exactly the days that I didn't do this. And I knew when you do this, you might think like, oh, it's just not working for me, or oh, the magic ran out. I used to think this, like, oh, if you visualize, like, it's kind of like something you use, like something like, example, you have a knife and then you start like chopping. After a while it's gonna get dull, right? I thought visualizations were the same. Like at the beginning, they were going to be super sharp, they were going to work a lot for you. But then after a while, your body gets used to it or whatever, and they stop working. Apparently, that wasn't the case. Apparently, it was just me who was being lazy, and yeah, it was really just me being lazy and not visualizing vividly and adding emotion to it. And this will happen to you. So just remember, every single time you visualize and you don't feel any different, you don't feel like, oh, it's just kind of like waste of time. It's always, I'm telling you, or at least for me, it's always because I didn't add emotion, and you make emotion by just visualizing vividly and just visualizing what you really want. For example, I visualize my goals. Like I told you, I visualize my 5K per month or being social around girls. And when I really visualize it with my five senses, I really believe it. It's like you almost get a smile to your face. You get that energy. But then when you kind of just like close your eyes and you just kind of see it like almost like in a dull 2D image, you just kind of like, yeah, whatever. But then when you see it like in 3D, you had like emotion, you had vividness, you think about the exact things you're gonna hear, you think about the exact things you're gonna see, that you almost have to visualize to the point where you are feeling your feet on the ground. That's the amount of level you have to visualize for it to actually have like emotion in your body. So the summary of this, and for you to actually take away and do something after this video, instead of just kind of watching this video, learning a few things and then just not doing anything, what you want to do is, if you already have a morning routine, or if you don't have a morning routine, which I doubt you don't, but anyway, if you don't have a morning routine, basically add this to your morning routine, which just for 1 minute, or really before you even do that, actually get your phone, like literally get your phone right now. I'm gonna look for it. I don't know where mine is. Well, anyway, just get your phone. I was gonna do it with you, but I can't find my phone. Literally get your phone out. Let's just imagine this is my phone, and literally open up notes. So search up notes and literally just click it, and then literally just type in the goals that you've set, the 3 tangible goals that you've set for yourself, like the health, wealth, and relationship goals that you've probably set for yourself. Obviously, they don't have to be health, wealth, and relationship, but that's what mine are, and that's what other people have seen is very similar as health, wealth, and relationship. So literally just write them down, and in your morning routine every single day, and literally you can't miss it, because I'm gonna make this easy for you. This is gonna be for you. You literally have to view these goals and visualize them for 1 minute. Think about that. 1 minute. You have like, I think it's like 6,000 minutes in one day. It's like something like that. There's no way you can't spend 1 minute to just look at these goals and activate your success mechanism and visualize these to actually activate your success mechanism. So like, you already know what to do. It's just a matter of you actually taking action. You know everything. You have your goals if you've actually noted them down in your phone. You look at them every morning. You visualize them with vividness and with emotion, which is created by vividness and actually believing that you can actually achieve them. So imagine one of your goals is you want to make 10K per month by the end of the year, and you literally visualize yourself working for 3 hours and then going into the toilet and looking at yourself in the mirror, being so proud, so happy that you were able to push through the 3 hour mark, whereas you used to only work for 2 hours or maybe even 1 hour. And then you visualize yourself around speaking to girls, being confident, speaking to other guys at school. That's what I do, at least, and it's always worked. When you add emotion, you make it vivid, and you really believe it. So with that said, with the topic link in the description will be my one-to-one help, where I'm going to teach you how to literally do the word that will take you 1 week done in 1 day. And I know that sounds like crazy, like the whole week in 1 day, but there's been times where I've done that, and there's been people who've done that with the people I've seen. So if you did find some value in this video, you probably find a lot of value in the first thing in the description, which is my one-to-one help, where I teach you how to do the word that will usually take you 1 week done in 1 day. And I know that sounds crazy, but with the tactics I'll be able to teach you, and the like specific tactics, like psychology you almost have to do to change your, think about this, the level that this goes, the depth that it goes. Like literally, I'm teaching you how to change your self-image, like the person you think you are, your identity, so you can become more successful, you can make more money, become more productive. Think about that level of like, you're literally using your psychology. You're like, I'm not just giving you like tactics, oh yeah, just wake up early and work. Like that's obviously like one of the tactics, but when you really just visualize yourself and you become the person who is productive, or the person who just can't work for 12 hours, you start doing that. So that was the first description. You will learn how to do the work that will usually take you 1 week, done in 1 day. I'll teach you like flows, like a lot of things. Like I can't even mention it because it's too much. But I'll help you one-on-one, and I'm going to stop yapping. You can just click on that first description, and I'll see you there.